went and met with your representatives. If you have not, you can still go do that. If you have any questions, please just contact an AIM representative, and they're wearing the t-shirts again. Let's get this started with our next speaker. Let's welcome Dr. Scott Koenigsnecht, and he is the superintendent of Montcalm Area ISD and also a parent of a child with autism. Welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Scott Koenigsnecht, and I'm the superintendent of the Montcalm Area Intermediate School District and also the dad of Cooper, my 4-year-old son with autism. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today. As a parent and a superintendent of an ISD, I've been following House Bill 4476 since it was introduced. I've been in education for 15 years and have spent 8 of those as a superintendent. During that time, I've come to know and understand how things work in Lansing regarding issues like this one. 99% of the time, the bottom line is money. With that in mind, I spent some time analyzing some data put forth by the Michigan Department of Education about the total number of special education students in the state, the number of ASD students, and the amount of money spent by school districts to provide our ASD children with a free and appropriate education. MDE has this data available going back over 30 years, and what I found is startling. Since 1976-1977, the total number of special education students of all disabilities has increased from 151,580 students with IEPs to 2006-2007, 249,006 students with IEPs. That's the total head count for special education students within the state. The number increased about a time and a half, from 151,000 to 249,000. MDE began diagnosing and labeling students with ASD in 1982-83. In 1982-83, there were 304 children with autism spectrum, or on the autism spectrum disorder. The numbers reported in 06-07 have grown to 11,366. That's an increase of 37 times over the same rate as students of general disabilities. 37 times the number of ASD kids in the state of Michigan over a 25-year period. I looked even closer at the monies that we spend to educate our kids. The monies spent are broken down by salaries and benefits of teachers and paraprofessionals, as well as the consultants that work with these kids. In 1984-85, we were spending $4 million educating our autistic population. By the time you roll in teacher benefits and salaries, paraprofessional benefits and salaries, and that as well as consultants, in 06-07, we spent almost $100 million educating our kids, and they're worth every penny, I might add. My point being is, over 25-year period, we have spent 22 times the amount of money that we spent in 1984-85. If nothing is done, and these kids are not afforded the treatments that they need, 25 years from now, we will be spending $2 billion a year educating our ASD population. The ASD train is on the tracks, and unless something is done, the financial wreck is bound to happen. Again, my point is this: requiring insurance companies to cover services rendered outside the school system above and beyond what is provided by our schools will help our kids improve their skills and abilities, and thereby reduce the increasing costs that schools would have to absorb if nothing is done. With proper treatments and therapies, our kids can improve. I see it and I live it every day. My son Cooper was diagnosed in the spring of 2007. He was one of those 11,366 kids that I mentioned earlier. But I believe he's more than a number, more than a statistic. He's my son, and my only son. Early on in our autism journey, my wife and I committed to pursue all reasonable options in terms of treatment with the goal of improving the quality of life for Cooper and for our family. My wife Jenny has really quarterbacked our treatment. She spent countless hours researching online, networking with other parents and physicians, trying to gather more information. And as a husband and a father, I could never be grateful enough. We began the DAM protocol in August of 2007, and over the past 18 months have seen dramatic improvements and measurable gains in expressive and receptive language, social skills, and cognitive abilities. We know that there is no cure for autism, but Cooper is getting better every day. We, like many of you, have bought and paid for additional speech and OT, music therapy, occupational therapy, Lamisil, diflucan, nystatin, Sporanox, B12 injections, low-dose naltrexone, glutathione, DMSA for chelation, acyclovir, omega-3 fish oil, TMG, probiotics, digestive enzymes, Culturel, Liver Life, Anacetal, GABA, and a variety of other supplements. I'm fortunate to say that we spent $4,700 last year. We're lucky as our insurance covers some of our costs. Many of you have no coverage and have spent $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. We know families who have mortgaged their homes and borrowed monies from their family members in an attempt to improve their lives of their child. Our ASD kids can and do improve with proper treatments and therapies. As I said, I see it and I live it every day. There is no cure for autism, just as there's no cure for diabetes. However, if Cooper were diabetic, I wouldn't be here today because his treatments would be covered. This is nothing short of blatant discrimination. Studies have shown that in the 9 or 10 other states which require this coverage, rates went up less than 1%, and there is data out there to support this. The critics are correct. This issue is partially about money. It's about the $2 billion train that's coming down the tracks in 25 years. If nothing is done, more is done to help our children improve. As strapped as our schools are now, I have no idea where the extra funds will come from. Organizations like the Michigan Association of School Superintendents, Michigan Association of Intermediate School Superintendents, and the Michigan Association of School Boards have recognized this and have formally endorsed this legislation. The other aspect of this issue is a very human one. It's not about being a Republican or a Democrat. It is about real children and real families struggling to improve the quality of lives in our ASD children and families. The passage of this legislation will ensure equal treatment of this disorder and allow thousands of ASD children a chance at contributing to society. At this point in my son's treatment, he does not have the voice to advocate for himself, and that is why I stand before you today. And until these treatments and therapies help him and the thousands of other ASD kids in our state find their voices, I will fight like hell to ensure that our kids have the same opportunities to improve their condition as children with other disorders. I hope you will join me in convincing our elected officials that this legislation needs to be passed and that time and money invested in treatments and therapies early on will pay off in the long run. Our kids can and do improve. I see it every day in the life of my son Cooper. On his behalf and behalf of all of the ASD kids in our state, thank you for the opportunity to speak.